Hi, this is Andy Allen, and today we're going to do some Hill Country Texas brisket. All right, when choosing a brisket, we're looking for a nice thick flat, and ideally the best meat is coming from this point right here. So if you can find a short one where it's almost all point, like this one, this is a great brisket. Typically when I'm looking for one, I want some nice marbling, go choice or higher. Start by removing this decal fat right here. We're just gonna dig in a little bit, not too much, but we're gonna take some of this off here. Now let's trim up this side here where the gray meat is. We're just gonna come all the way down. Let's do the same to this side, straighten it up a little bit. So typically these corners down here are gonna dry out a little bit, so I like to just round them off. And then we're gonna clean up some of the surface fat. It helps to have your hand underneath it so you can push the brisket up, get a little better angle at that fat. You don't need to remove it all, just the majority of it. All right, let's go a little bit deeper here. And all this meat could be great for beans, ground up for hamburger. Flip it over. Now on this side, you want to get the fat to a 1/4 inch down here, and you can go a little bit more up to 1/2 inch here. You can see right there that we are pretty much at a 1/4 inch, so there's not much trimming involved here. This side's a little bit thicker, so we'll take some off. You can actually feel the thickness of the fat, and anywhere it's hard, you can move a little bit more. There's typically a chunk here that overhangs. We'll take some of that all the way down so it cooks evenly. Okay, the next step is optional. If you want, you can apply a little bit of mustard here, and that's not so much for flavor, but it allows the salt and pepper to stick a little better, give me a little bit thicker bark. And I like starting with the meat side first because our presentation side is going to be that fat cap. It's best to hold this shaker a little high, that way you get a nice even coat. Make sure your ratio of salt and pepper is even. Let's do the flip. You won't be able to taste the mustard at all after cooking. All right, let's throw this on. We're gonna put the point towards the hot side of the grill, whichever side that might be on your grill. Fat cap up with the water pan underneath. That's gonna add a little bit of moisture to keep that bottom from burning. We're cooking this at 235, but right here where the brisket's sitting, we're looking at more 225. You're gonna wanna let this brisket smoke for 12 hours. After the first 6 hours, you can start spritzing, just hitting the dry spots and cooling off the spots that are cooking too quick. Make sure to hit all the spots that are drying out to keep the crust from getting too dark. All right, it's been 12 hours and it looks like we're just about to wrap. We'll do one last spritz here. All right, if you hit your paper here with a little spritz, it's gonna fold up a little better for you. Here's a little trick. So I have 2 pieces of paper here. Give me a little bit wider area to work with. I'm gonna wrap it over, fold the edges in, straighten it up, do a little crease. Do a crease there. Flip it once. Pull this side in, and back over. And make sure it's nice and tight. All right, bring it back to the smoker. Make sure the fat cap is fat side up, so that way your meat sits in the juices. Let's take a look at this brisket here. And we're about 3 more hours in. And what I'm looking for here is I'm gonna squeeze it, and I don't want it to bounce back in my hands. I wanna be able to push on it without too much spring. If you wanted to go by temp, we're looking at about 195 for this to be done. A good rule of thumb is when you're cooking these lower temperatures, the brisket's gonna be done at a lower temperature. If I was cooking in the 275 range, this brisket wouldn't be done until it's about 205 internal. So we're gonna actually turn the smoker down to 150 and let this brisket come all the way back down to 150 before we slice it. So that way when we slice it, we're not gonna get a lot of steam coming off of it, and it's gonna retain all that moisture. You can see it's real floppy. It should be a great brisket. So we're about 16 hours into this cook here. We allowed it plenty of time to rest. That looks good, nice and jiggly. All right, so for slicing, you see this ridge right here? This is the end of our point. So we're gonna come right here, slice down the middle. This is the lean side, the flat. These are the money shots right here. This is the good stuff. So we're gonna cut into it. This is what you save for the people you really like. That's what you're looking for right there. Nice render on the fat, nice seam fat render, still moist and juicy. We're gonna go ahead and cut this into about 1/2 inch slices, very gently. Look at that, beautiful. This is what you want. So let's get that on our platter here. I'm gonna go ahead and eat the rest of it. And right there, that's your Texas-style brisket.